Welcome to the Empowerment Zone, brought to you by South Dade NAACP, where we share trustworthy information, uplift local voices, and connect you to the resources and pathways that support thriving, one conversation, one connection, and one action at a time. It is where South Miami-Dade listens, learns, and leads.
My name is Harold Ford, your host, and today we have a special guest that's going to be joining us for today's show. We welcome Judge Spencer.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. It's an honor to be here.
It is my pleasure, and thank you for indulging us for this time period that we're going to be spending together.
Well, the NAACP is such an historic organization, more than 100 years old, fighting for everyone's rights in this country.
That's right.
That to be a guest of yours, it's an honor.
Well, thank you.
I should call you Your Honor for the show.
No, we will leave that to you, who actually is a judge and serving in that capacity. But with that said, Judge Spencer, introduce yourself to the family. Tell us a little bit about you, your origins, and we'll get on with the interview.
Well, thank you. I've been serving as your circuit court judge here in Miami-Dade County for over 20 years. And before that, I worked in service as well in the United States Department of Justice and as a legal services attorney in Washington, D.C. And I really love giving to the community in that way. And I was born in New York City when things were a little wild in the day, in the 70s and in the 60s. And like I was working as a bicycle messenger in the summer before I was applying to colleges. And taxis were really offended by bicycles. So they were trying to run me off the road. So I decided to go away to college, someplace quiet, and I moved into the South. I went to the University of Virginia and the University of Georgia. And but for the Georgia haters here in South Florida, which I understand, I will tell you that I have repented. My son went to the University of Florida. He's a Gator, and when I was there with him, I repented for my university, my bulldogness. So kind of hopefully honorary Gator, at least Gator father.
Well, hey,
and I had a Knoll daughter too, so I mean, we covered all of the bases here. And a UCF daughter.
We won't hold your daughter any responsible for that.
And
I am a Gator as well. So diehard, 100%. And be careful of those Knolls; they creep up anywhere.
Well, I don't know if you're a father, but person has to love all of their children.
Exactly.
Knoll, Gator, Knight, it doesn't matter.
I agree. Well, with that said, what inspired you to run for Miami-Dade Circuit Court judge or seek re-election as a judge? Run 20 years ago to become a judge. And what is your inspiration today to seek re-election?
Mr. Ford, my inspiration for seeking re-election and for becoming a judge is the same as the NAACP's reason for beginning and for continuing all this 120 years to fight injustice, to try to preserve everybody's rights. Everybody deserves, anytime that people come to court in their own life, their own personal cases, it's usually one of the most important days of their life. These are like the big issues that are being decided. And they deserve effective, experienced justice. And I also try to make most of these situations as win-win as possible. Try to get a better than expected outcome, so that everybody has a good experience. And I didn't know how to do that 20 years ago. I learned it over the years, having done all the cases.
I love it. The evolution of your growth, your development, and your professionalism within the profession, is key.
Did you ever hear that thing that to become really an expert at something, you have to do it 10,000 times?
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, it takes a while to get 10,000 of anything done. And, fortunately, I've had the time.
Now, your campaign emphasizes being fair, compassionate, and experience. What excuse me, what is the significance of those three qualities in a courtroom setting?
I think that fairness means playing it properly and appropriately for everyone. Not favoring the powerful over the weak.
That's right. That's right.
The politically connected over the unconnected. I mean, you call your show, I think, the Empowerment Show. Yeah, something like that. I didn't get the name exactly. Empowerment Zone,
The Empowerment Zone.
Empowerment Zone.
Yes.
So judges have the ability to empower people in court by listening to them, by respecting them.
That's right.
So a courtroom is also like an empowerment zone.
True. True.
And that's where I wanted to work, in an empowerment zone.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. And so that's how your fairness comes in, and then compassionate, as well as you alluded to earlier, your experience throughout the years allowed your evolution to the judge you've become today.
Thank you, Mr. Ford.
Amen. Amen. And so now, in your 20-year tenure, you have resided over juvenile, criminal, civil, family, and probate cases. What lessons have you learned that will assist as a judge moving forward, assist you as a judge, and could potentially assist others as a judge, because we never know who will be viewing our podcast?
Yeah. And right. I'd like to have some useful information to the people listening to the podcasts who may not be lawyers or may not be judges. I mean, one thing, just a practical tip that I learned over the years, in recent years, really doing civil cases, is don't waive the uninsured motorist coverage on your insurance when you buy it. I didn't really know what uninsured, underinsured motorist was. It was one of the lines on there, and I really didn't know what it was.
Right. And it's not really explained.
It's not really explained. And so I understood what collision was. I understood what liability was. But under an uninsured motorist, for example, is when the other driver doesn't have insurance or just has a $10,000 policy, the minimum. And you have more injury or damage than that, then your own coverage will kick in and help you to get out of the loss. And I did not know that. I learned that in court. I learned so many interesting things just that affect people's day-to-day lives.
Right.
I was in the probate, and I learned the importance of homestead rights to keep homes and houses within families so that creditors can't come in and take the property away. And that's a very important constitutional right in the state of Florida.
That's right. Very true. Very true.
But some people, for example, if they quitclaim the deed into some kind of a LLC, they may not have that protection.
And then when you have multiple people on your deeds, you need that right to survivorship.
Yes.
To avoid having to go into probate.
That's true. Yes. I mean, a lot of families, a lot of homes and families here have gone through multiple generations. And there might be some heirs who are living in the property and other heirs who have just gone off and lived their lives in other places and are not even in touch.
Correct.
And so the homeowner who doesn't make a will and doesn't deal with that situation before their passing might open up their own children and cousins. If they have children, it's not as complicated. But if they don't have children, and it's like people are looking for third cousins who are going to get a 1.8% ownership of a house.
112, 136 or
something, right? Have you heard about situations like that?
I personally had experienced that when my mom passed. We had to redo the lease, the deed, and my sister, who had also passed, whose name was on the deed. So we had to go to her children, and then one of her children had passed, so we had to go to her children's children. So it was a complex, but yet because of my family's willingness to, I guess to be cooperative, it didn't make it an arduous task, which it very well could have been. But now many people interact with the court system during the stressful and life-changing moments. How do you ensure that everyone who appears before you feel both heard and respected?
The state of Florida has good training for its judges. Mm-hmm. And the training is not about the law. The judges are supposed to know the law. It's about how to deal with situations like that in court. Like the very first lesson they gave us, they wrote in big letters, mm-hmm. Validating emotions shrinks them. That the state of Florida was teaching its new judges that if people are upset, not to bang the gavel at them and yell at them, but accept that they're upset because these are stressful things that's so important to them. And that by recognizing the validity mm-hmm. of their emotions,
right,
by recognizing the stress that they're under, the judge can help to reduce that level rather than being strict in it and increasing it.
Gotcha.
And, it's something that works over the years. Mm-hmm. I mean, judge sometimes does need a little gavel tap. It has a little magic effect sometimes.
Gotcha.
But, I've been in a family court, juvenile, mm-hmm. very stressful courts. And, handling emotions. One of the things when I first started, my very first assignment was in juvenile dependency. Mm-hmm. These cases of abused and neglected children.
Okay.
And a lot of the parents involved and the children also were sometimes suffering from mental illnesses of various kinds. Mm-hmm. And we were frequently given to read psychological evaluations. And I had never really read psychological evaluations before. And I went off to a course called specifically for judges about mental illnesses in the courtroom. And it was a wonderful course. It really helped me to understand what all these diagnoses meant. And as I went through the various divisions, criminal, probate, civil, mm-hmm. I realized that helping people with mental illnesses cope in society mm-hmm. is a big part of a judge's job in every division of the court. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of training was really, really valuable.
Okay. Awesome. Now, public confidence in the justice system is essential. What can judges do to strengthen trust and transparency in the courts?
One of my judicial heroes, mm-hmm. and I want to pull the late Justice Thurgood Marshall into this conversation because he was so affiliated with the NAACP.
Yes.
And ran its legal arm.
Legal Defense Fund
for, I think, mm-hmm. decades, probably.
Yes.
And through that fund, won some of the amazing battles mm-hmm. that led to civil rights coming into the country.
Right.
And he said, and I wouldn't say this is an exact quote from memory, but that one of the things that judges can do that's very important, but it's hard to do, is not decide. Mm. Because sometimes, and in reality, 90% of cases result in compromise and an eventual settlement. Criminal cases might be pretrial diversion. Mm-hmm. Civil cases might be a money settlement. Divorces might be a marital settlement agreement with a parenting plan. Whatever the section of court mm-hmm. is. So I think a really important thing for a judge to do is really encourage communication between the parties. really set up a case so that it's compromisable.
Gotcha.
When those attorneys come into court ready to fight because they prepared for that, I make them step back a little bit, make sure they spoke to each other. And sometimes in the old days, in the hallways of the courthouse, nowadays, sometimes in the Zoom breakout room, and they settle the case, or at least settle the issue. More often than not, but they'd never spoken to each other.
Mm-hmm.
They just sent emails. Sometimes in these forums and interviews, people said, "What's my judicial philosophy?" And one of my judicial philosophies is, email is not an effective method of communication between attorneys. They just write past each other.
Gotcha.
But if they talk and have a conversation like we're having, it's so much better.
Right. Much more constructive, much healthier. Amen. So now, knowing that Miami-Dade County is one of the most diverse communities in the nation, how does that diversity influence your understanding of justice and fairness?
Well, Mr. Ford, I've always lived in diverse communities.
New York. Yeah.
I grew up in New York. I lived in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
I worked there. Then I worked for the Legal Services and the Department of Justice there. Department of Justice sent me down to New Orleans to clean up New Orleans of vice and corruption. Did that in 3 years flat? No, I don't think that's really possible. And then I moved to Miami.
Okay.
Those are all diverse populations. And Miami has an ever growing more diverse population. I just love it. I love it. And not everybody has the same expectations when they come into court. Some people in Miami, in the whole area, come from countries in which the court systems are not open to the people.
Very true.
Where the court system is fixed for the rich or the powerful or the politically connected. Like I mentioned earlier. Like a lot of people in Miami come from places like that.
That's right.
And they have to, we have to help them. We have to help them as to accept our court system, to expect fairness in our court system, and to use our court system. And so I think those are all very important goals. And I think that's a great thing about a podcast like this, that people can listen to and learn more about it.
Thank you. Now, access to justice remains a challenge for individuals who may not be able to afford legal representation. So what role should judges play in ensuring equal access to the fairness of the court, or the expectation of the fairness of the court?
One thing that I've learned to do when I go to bar association events or meet attorneys here and there or in the courthouse hallway, see if I can get them to agree to take a pro bono case. Like, for example, in family court, when people that don't have, maybe in civil court, if people get injured or something and they don't have money, attorneys might take a contingency fee.
Right.
Or it might be a situation in which, if it's an insurance claim, for example, the defense might pay the attorney's fee. But in family court, there's nothing like that. And for example, I used to have a lot of situations where people without resources, but with children, were separating, whether it was a divorce or just a separation, came in front of court in different ways.
Okay.
But they absolutely hated each other. They would just come in, say mean things about each other, and then ask me to make up a parenting plan for their children's entire lives. And that didn't seem good. And so in those situations, I would recruit attorneys to be the guardian ad litem for the children.
Okay.
And to meet the children, because we didn't used to have the children to come to court. And what, the child's going to like point to which parent they want? That's just not a great way to to make these are really life and death decisions.
That's right.
Child custody decisions are really life and death decisions that are so profound, and that we may not be able to find out whether I made the right decision for some generations. There's like generational issues. But if I can find somebody to go in person, see the situation, meet the children, meet the homes, and then that person can come to court and testify as to all of those things, I think that's a very valuable way to increase access to justice and the quality of it.
Gotcha. Now, for young people, especially those in underrepresented communities who may be interested in careers in law or may aspire to become a judge, what advice would you give to them?
One piece of advice, a lot of people think that they should major in political science if they want to go to law school. But I don't think it really adds anything to the situation.
Gotcha.
You know what some great major is? Healthcare, nursing, technician, people coming from those areas.
Okay.
A lot of law is about injuries. Those car crash and injury and slip and fall cases, they're really not about the car crashing. They're really about the injury.
The impact on the body.
And a lot of the evidence in those cases is medical records.
Gotcha.
So people that work in healthcare will have a big step up over political science major.
Wow.
If they're go to law school and they're applying to a law firm, the law firms will love them.
Okay.
Another good major is accounting. Okay. There's a lot of numbers in business cases. A lot of attorneys are not good at numbers. They can't count. They can't count past 10, especially if they're wearing shoes.
Gotcha.
And so, if they study accounting or finance, and they understand the numbers better, or math,
gotcha.
They'll have a step up.
Amen. Now, what inspired your journey into the legal profession?
Oh, I was a talkative little kid. They called me Spencer the Talking Baby. And everybody would say to me, oh, you're going to be a lawyer someday. Not always in a positive way. And, it was like almost an inevitability for me.
Lord, I love it. Now, how do you ensure structural biases do not influence outcomes in your courtroom? Particularly dealing with issues of race, socioeconomic status, and language barriers.
Yeah, we have training all the time in these areas, implicit bias training, and all kinds of things to make us self-aware that these things exist. That it's just a big part of coming to work in the morning as a judge is unpacking those biases.
Gotcha.
Undoing those things and coming in with an open heart and open ears and an open mind and not to be judgmental.
Gotcha. Well, as we prepare to wrap up, what parting words would you give to young people who are aspiring to get into the profession of law and or those that are in law becoming a judge? What parting words would you give to them?
Immerse yourself in the community. Meet a lot of people. Do a lot of good. Make people remember you positively. Don't gossip, because people want their attorneys to keep their secrets. Because these are all things that AI, I'm sure all young people are worried about AI. They love AI.
Yes.
And they worry about it. And is AI going to, people like me that grew up watching The Terminator, we already know, we can't believe it. We know how the movie ends.
That's right.
But young people, they didn't see The Terminator. So, but be a people person. That can't be replaced.
Gotcha. And so with that said, how can people contact you to, support your campaign or just contact you in general?
Thank you. We have a website, SpencerEig.com, SpencerEig.com. And early voting is going on now. Absentee ballots, vote-in-mail ballots are available now. And Election Day is August 18th. And my punch number is 131.
And final question. Why should the community vote to re-elect Judge Spencer?
Every single member of the community deserves an experienced judge who knows how to handle their case on the day that they come in, not 10 years after they came in.
Amen.
And I've done a lot of good. I have a lot of good to do. And to each listener or viewer of this podcast, I respectfully request your vote.
Amen. Well, thank you, Judge Spencer. Thank you, family, for indulging us in this episode of the Empowerment Zone. We look forward to seeing you in our next episode. God bless.
Thank you for joining us in the Empowerment Zone, brought to you by South Dade NAACP, where information becomes action, voices become movements, and community becomes change. We hope today's conversation inspired you to stay informed, stay engaged, and stay empowered. Remember, our voices are strongest when they are heard at the ballot box. Voting and voter registration are powerful tools that help shape our schools, neighborhoods, leadership, and future. Encourage someone to register, make a plan to vote, and continue doing your part to strengthen our community. And don't forget to email your feedback, thoughts, and/or suggestions for topics that you want to hear about to podcast@southdade.naacp.org. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep leading, because together we are building a stronger South Miami-Dade, one conversation at a time.